Hey guys, Darcy here with Nature Baker. If you've ever tried to make pizza from scratch before, you know that it can be really difficult and a little disappointing. But the cool part about what we're going to do today is that it's not going to be difficult and it's not going to be disappointing. So Nature Baker's dry mix is so easy to form. I'm going to show you how we form a crust just from using warm water and our dry mix. Let's get started.
First, you're going to empty your dry mix into your mixer. You're going to make sure that you thoroughly mix it so that it performs exactly how you want it to. Next, you're going to add 2 cups warm water. It's super important that the water is warm because this helps activate the psyllium husk as well as the yeast. Make sure that once you add the 2 cups of warm water, you mix it thoroughly again. You can mix it at first on a low speed and then slowly get to a higher speed. All you really need is to mix for about 30 seconds and it should be good to go. You'll notice that the dough clumps up. If you have a dough hook, this won't happen, but either way, it's perfectly fine. Once you dump your dough out, now you're going to shape it into a ball. The dough is really pliable and easy to shape, and usually you don't need any extra flour while you're shaping. As you can see, I am twisting the dough ball and then I am rolling it a little bit. This makes it nice and firm. On the bottom, the seams are nice and together, and I pinch them a little bit and then I continue to roll. Once I've done that, I'm going to now cut my dough into 4 pieces. Each piece will serve as a pizza crust. I'm going to start working with my first piece. Here I'm going to want to do the same thing and form a nice tight dough ball. I'm going to tuck under as I go around the ball. I'm folding the pieces of dough into the bottom so that they will stay there when it rises and I will have a nice uniform ball when I roll out my dough. Another strategy that I use is I like to hold my hand over the dough ball and shake it, almost like a clamp. I don't actually move my wrist and I hold the clamp firm. That makes it so that the dough at the bottom actually stays together and doesn't come unhinged while it rises. Doing this really makes you have a nice round rollout, which is just easier. Now I'm gonna let it rise. I don't use oil or anything, I just put the dough straight into some sort of pan and then I cover it in plastic wrap. Ideally, I have a BPA-free topper to put on here, but if not, plastic wrap will do. Now I'm going to put this dough in an oven, just at 170 degrees so that it's proofed. Once I get it out, it will have doubled in size. Here's my nicely proofed dough. I'm going to pop the dough out and I'm going to start to roll. It's going to take a minute or two, but it's a lot of fun. I might put a little flour down too. As I start to roll, I'll just push nicely so that it starts to spread. It may move around, that's perfectly fine. You want about 10 inches in diameter so that it'll fit nicely in a 12-inch diameter cast iron pan. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Just make it somewhat circular. It'll all work out. Now I'm going to pinch the sides all around the perimeter because that's going to help me have what is like a nice little crust. But first, let me smooth it out a little bit more. There we go. So now I just fold it a little bit around the corners. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Pretty easy. All the way around and press it down just a tad, just to make sure that it is sealed. Once I've done this, I might go over it one more time with a rolling pin just to make sure that it is completely flattened and ready to rock. But not much. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some flour on a cast iron skillet. This makes it so that the dough doesn't stick to the pan. After I put flour on my cast iron skillet, I'm going to make sure that I heat up my skillet nicely before my next step. So I'll put it on the oven at about medium-high heat. Next, I'm going to get my dough and I'm going to put it directly on the hot skillet. Now this is where you might want to work fast and have your items ready. Before you start putting your toppings on, you're going to want to make sure that the entire dough that you formed is nice and flat on your cast iron skillet. You don't want any bumps. Try and straighten it out if you can and make it really smooth. Once you've done that, you're going to want to put your oven at broil on high before you start putting your toppings onto your pizza crust. I usually start with the red sauce and I spread it across the dough evenly. I make sure just to use about 2 tablespoons of red sauce because I found that a little goes a really long way and I don't want to oversaturate or wetten my beautiful pizza dough. The next thing that I'm going to add on after I fully spread out my pizza sauce is I'm going to add on fresh little pieces of basil. And I'm going to spread those all across the pizza so that they're little pops of flavor when the pizza's completely done. After I've spread all of my basil across the pizza, next I'm going to add either my plant-based or regular shredded mozzarella cheese. If you can have regular cheese, you can even do the wet buffalo mozzarella. It's delicious as well, cut in circles onto the pizza. It's entirely up to you what kind of cheese you want to use. I found that most work great. Next, I'm going to put on some beautiful granulated smoked sea salt, just a tad for flavor, and then I'm going to drizzle on some olive oil. Any kind will do, but a little drizzle to finish off the pizza. After I've done this, I'm going to put it directly into the oven that has been set on high to broil. Be careful and remember your cast iron is hot, so use a towel when you're transferring it. I'm going to keep the cast iron in there for 5 minutes. And I'm going to keep my burner on at medium-high, even though nothing's on there, so that it is prepped when I take out my cast iron skillet. After 5 minutes, I'm going to take out the skillet carefully and directly transfer it onto the preheated burner. When I do this, it's going to cook the underside of the pizza so that not only is the top beautiful, but so is the entire dough. I'll check it occasionally, and I will be cooking it for 5 minutes on the burner. Once it's really done, I'll be able to look underneath it and I will see dark brown spots. Once 5 minutes is up, I'm going to be able to take my pizza off and it's going to look so beautiful with lovely bubbling cheese and lots of flavor. After I've done this, it's ready to eat, and guys, it's best fresh. I hope you enjoyed everything that I shared with you today. Make sure to like and comment if you need anything at all. I'm just a DM away. And thanks so much for following me here at Nature Baker. I hope that you use the dry mix and enjoy it as much as I do.